Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, and today is the last day of our fundraising efforts. So please help me help them help the animals. There are a few ways you can do so. First, donate to our fundraiser here on Twitch. Wolf Axe 2 awesomely donated $15, which exceeds our goal, but we can always go higher, so please donate if you can. And if you can't, no problem. Just watch this stream and bring your friends, because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count here on Twitch. Oh, Sarah's here right away. Hello, Sarah! Today is Friday, which means it's time for Chibi Friday, and we're actually going to be starting on one of Sarah's, I guess we'll call this one the thank you Chibi. One of Sarah's Chibi caricatures. We're going to do Harmony today. So I'm so glad you can make it right away to see the very beginning of the Harmony Chibi. How are you, Sarah? I'm so glad you could join me. I hope you had a great week. Got any fun plans for tonight or the weekend? So for my Chibi caricature, I am going to be using this Strathmore mixed media paper. I'm super excited because I am finally on the last sheet. I am on the last sheet of this paper. I have had this little pad of paper for years and years and years, like so much of the paper in my collection. I'm so happy to be reducing my collection. Finally working through an item. I have too much paper, to be honest. So it's really nice when I can actually get through one, and we'll just recycle this. It's all paper and cardboard. And I want my little clipboard. Forgot about that. Get that out of the closet. Oh, your dog's sitting. Avoiding Easter. I'm excited for Easter. We got some vegan chocolate bunnies and vegan robin's eggs, but they're like huge ones. They're vegan chocolate robin's eggs. They're like they fit in your hand. So I'm excited for Easter. Why are you avoiding Easter? Also, who's the puppy that you're sitting this weekend? If you want to share, you don't have to share anything that you don't want to. So here is my sketch kit. My basic sketch kit. It's got most everything that I need for most of the projects that I do. In this case, I'm going to use my favorite 0.5 millimeter graphite pencil. It's my favorite because it has Celeste on it. I got it in Japan at the Nintendo store in Osaka, and when you spin it, the stars shoot across the sky. It's so cute. I love it so much. So we're going to use this today for the basic sketch of Harmony. Yeah, that's not a robin size egg. Yeah, it's pretty big. It's not as big as like a chicken egg, but it's sizable. It's nice. I can't wait to have it. I'm going to have to space out all those treats over the next week though, because I'm working hard on my body composition goals for this year, which means monitoring how much I eat each day. And if I eat the whole chocolate bunny and the whole egg and stuff, I will just put myself back by weeks. It's tons of calories. Oh, dog city, 2 dogs. Ooh. Oh, and avoiding the in-laws. So that's why you're avoiding Easter. Okay, I got it. Well, I hope you have a great weekend then. That sounds kind of relaxing. Just you and the pups? That's what it sounds like. Let's see. I've got my reference image up of Harmony. I picked this one. I think looks really cute. Of course, there were lots of cute ones. But this one I think... So it's not just about is it cute. It's about does it work well as a chibi. And I think this one is cute and works well as a chibi. So yes, we do want this portrait orientation. Verifying that, and her head is down. She's not even doing anything special. She's just standing there and looking freaking adorable with like these massive gigantic eyes. She basically already has chibi proportions. So first, we'll draw a big circle to place her head. We need to leave a little room at the bottom for her feet to show, her front feet. And then her back's going to be coming up. But we're going to make it shorter because it's Chibi. So the rest of the body proportions are small. Oh, let's see. There's lots of messages from Sarah. First time her dogs will be here. So Tyka's going to be wild. It's going to be a full house over there. Oh, well, hopefully they'll remember. They'll remember each other. I think about that sometimes. I think it was before the pandemic. We were walking our dogs with a couple of friends' dogs. And so even though Chappie especially. Hold on. Someone came to the door and rang the doorbell and I lost my train of thought. Let me start over. So even though our dogs, Chappie especially, aren't that great with meeting other dogs, though Aoife by herself is great. But when she's with Chappie, she feeds off of Chappie's energy. And so she gets more like Chappie instead of her usual calm self. And Chappie is now barking because of the person at the door. Or she's threatening to bark. But we had been walking them with 3 other dogs. 2 from my one friend, and then the third one from my other friend. And we were meeting every weekend and walking, and Chappie was fine with those dogs because she'd met them enough. But I'm pretty sure that was before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic happened, it was like, oh, we don't know what to do because it was figuring out how does the disease spread and how far away do you need to be from each other. We just, everything shut down, including our walks. And we haven't walked since then because life goes on and we came up with other routines in the meantime, so we never got back to doing the group walking. But I've recently been thinking, probably because the weather's getting nice and really nice for going out on walks, if we resumed that, would Chappie especially, but would the dogs remember each other? And I hope that they would. You've had these dogs for that long. Oh, actually, now I wonder. Oh, I remember. So, wait a minute. We got them during the pandemic. I was confused. We started walking with Soon. So then that was before the pandemic. So we started walking with Soon, and then we introduced... So never mind. I am remembering incorrectly. Anyway, something did happen where the walks stopped. But that was during the pandemic. Well, forget the pandemic thing. We haven't had them that long. This is their 4th year with us? 2022. So 3. So we adopted them in 2022. So 23, 24. This will be the 3rd year. Okay, so it hasn't been as long as I thought. Yay, you're helping me remember. It's hard to remember. That's why I write down everything in my life, and I also use planners and journals and all this stuff, because I can't actually remember stuff all that well. Just off the top of my head. But if I write it down, or take a picture, or whatever it is, like, oh, I remember. Anyway, it still has been years since we did the group walking. I don't know why we stopped it now. I thought it was because of the pandemic, but it wasn't. Either way, you reminded me that I've been thinking about, I wonder if they would remember each other. I think it's because those 2 friends came to my birthday party last week. Was it last week or the week before? It was the week before. I had a karaoke birthday party, and both friends were over. But not their dogs, obviously. Yeah, not 5 years. I was conflating, so the walks did start. The group walking did start before the pandemic because we started it with Soon. And then he passed away in 2022, and a few months later, I was feeling like I wanted to help another dog, and then we ended up getting 2 dogs, but yeah. So the reasoning behind why the walks stopped, I don't know what it was. It could have been going to Japan, because that was a big interruption. We were gone for 3 weeks in 2023. It doesn't really matter, though. The point is that the dogs haven't seen their walking buddies in a little while, and I hope that they would remember each other if we are able to start walking them again. And I hope that your dogs and their, what would they be, cousins? Their fur cousins? I hope that they will remember each other too. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on Harmony's face now. Get a little more detail. So the shape of her face is that little bit of points on the cheeks, right outside the eyes. So, let's see. On this side it comes out a little bit, and then it comes out even more. This side. This side it dips in some and then comes out. Talking about the outline of the face. And then comes down, sort of angle. And then her chin is like this. And her upper jaw is like this. Oops, I drew this one going the wrong way. It's so quiet now that I'm done telling my story. It's also quiet outside. There was bird song all this time and then it died down. Sister's older dog, Tux, totally chill. Then Misty is next in age. And younger dog, Peanut, who's a pit bull, goes kind of overexcited crazy. Then Taika. I thought Taika and Peanut would get along and play, but he was too overwhelmed. Aww. To meet everyone, says he hasn't met the people or been to the house. Yeah, all too new, yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure that he'll recognize, just like we recognize a face, pretty sure dogs recognize each other's scent. I always think about, try to imagine maybe a little bit, though it's hard because we don't have the same powers as dogs, but what is it like in a world where, so we live in a world where sight is the primary sense. In general, of course, I know it's different for some people, but compared to a dog, scent is the most important and the most powerful sense that they have, so it's got to be so different. Just picking up all these different pieces of eraser. Get that off of my scene so that I can tell how it's looking. It's looking good, I think. Well, once you get over like a day or two, might settle down. Though if it's only a couple days for the weekend, then it might not be enough time. It's maybe kind of like when I go somewhere and Sean stays home, and then apparently the dogs are like looking for me or expecting me to come home at any minute. But say at the end of March, I went on a weekend trip with a friend, so I didn't come back for 2 whole days. And by the time I did come back, they had sort of given up on me, I guess. They had finally accepted that I wasn't coming home. And then I did come home. She's coming along. Sun went down. That's it. She's gone forever. I do feel a little bit bad sometimes because there's no way for me to just say to them, hey, don't worry. I'm going away for a little bit, but I'll be back soon. They don't know. They don't know about planning and going on a trip or anything. To them, it's like their human is missing. That's it. So, but they're okay. They're strong. They get through it. So I think I need to make this ear a little bit bigger. It's a tad bit bigger to match with the other one. Okay, we've got her mouth, we've got her ears. Do I want to add the nosy next or the eyes? I think I want, for anything, to put some guidelines to help me. So we've got, in fact, let's see, if I have the tips of, this always happens. So the tip of that ear is too high up, and this one is lower. I should just do this from the beginning, but I never think of it until later. Okay, I put some marks where I'm going to redraw, even though I just finished this ear, but I want it to look right. So it's not matching the angle that I have down with the mouth, and I like that angle, so I'm going to use that as my guide. Oh. Oh. Ranger says, let the puppies in. The puppies went in. They went back in. Kiki was doing that earlier, but what she was saying was, I want to go out with the puppies. Nope, she's not going outside. It's dangerous outside. For many reasons. There's many dangers for kitties. And you can keep Kiki safe. Okay, now that I have evened out the ears, I can use this to choose a spot for the eyes. Oh, I keep moving it, not even. So we're going to put the eyes rather low because they're going to be huge and cute. It already looks cute, these little lines. I just realized that you don't need to see this whole space. I'll move this down so that you can see more of the drawing. Look at these 2 little guidelines. It just looks like a sleepy cat. Let's put the nose here. And the middle of the face. About here. And if that is the middle. where do I want the center of the eyes to be? It's 2 centimeters out. Well, probably right above each line of the cheek, where the cheek ends. Oh wow, I did really good with the spacing right there. So let's just use this to mark where the center of the eye should be. Boop. Now it looks like some sort of clown kitty. But this is just the guidelines. So first we're going to draw some huge circles. So now it'll look really creepy for a second. We're going to build the eyes onto here. This is so much eraser stuff, I'm just going to swipe it into the trash instead of trying to pick it up. Okay, so now the outline of her eyes. Let's angle slightly down as we go toward the middle. And then in, and almost all the way down. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Alright, clean up these. Just keep drawing guidelines and cleaning them up as soon as they're done. I just realized that my small camera's not really doing anything useful. My tertiary camera. Now I have moved it to be more useful. A little bit kind of stuck on. There. Okay, now that I'm looking at these, they're not quite the same shape, so let's change it a bit. Maybe what I need to do is actually bring this one down. Eyes are the main focus, so I definitely want them to be symmetrical, as symmetrical as possible. Because another thing is it's a little too big this direction. Some little speck here. I don't like the little specks. They're distracting. That's closer. That's closer to even. Still don't like the angle of the top of this eye. Try this one again. That's pretty good. Let's stick with that. Now her nosy, which is quite cute because she's got a little orange patch in the middle. So it's pink on the top, but then the middle and the bottom part is orange. So she's got the two kitty nose colors. Or at least to me it feels like the two. There's probably, yeah, there's definitely black kitty noses too, because we had Kiba and he had a black nose, but Kiki has the more orange colored nose. And Bear, he had the pink nose. You first thought her nose was dirty. It does kind of look like that if you don't look closely. Or maybe that it's really wet or something, because when stuff gets wet it changes color a little bit. She's just got a lovely little patch. Little nosy patch. Alright, I think I'm just going to let this be a single line because it's a little too much to try to put in here. Yeah, that's better. Just a single line is enough. And in this picture, the pink is so soft that there's not even any hard edge you can tell for where it goes from pink to white fur. So I won't do any line showing the upper edge of the nose. I'll just use the color to depict that later. The only thing I'm thinking now, though, is that this is too big. For the Chibi nose, we got to go a little bit smaller. So let's try again. We're going to make it a little bit smaller than this. So Chibi make the eyes big, but the other features not necessarily. This nice little, I love the shape of kitty noses. They have these beautiful curves and lines. Aww. It makes sense that you would miss her. You had her for so long. It feels like you had her always. Like in my memory, it feels like she was always there, even though I'm pretty sure you got her in the time that we were friends. But she was always the queen kitty. Not small enough. It's definitely smaller. Not quite even. I want to get it right. I want to get it right. There we go. That's better. Okay. There's her smaller nosy. So what do I want to do next? Her fur on the rest of her face is white, although it does come up a lot higher here, so I'm going to make these parts more curved, and then that way her lower lip. I love that about cats, that their lower lip shows up right here. It's extremely cute. Let's depict her lower lip here. But again, it's pink. It's a little harder edged because there's a nice shadow underneath, but it's pink, so I'm just going to do the little small line and not a fully connected line. Keep it a little more subtle. So I think that's good. Oh, I'll allow this. You're not bullying Taika, so I'll allow it. Taika is filling her spot. Yeah, I think the rest of the features on this part, her mouth and her cheeks, that's best done with ink or color rather than the black ink. The only thing is maybe depicting the whiskers, because her whiskers are white, but we're drawing this on a white background, so we won't be able to see it. If I don't use ink. I could even use some gray ink instead if I remember. And that way it'll be a little bit lighter. You adore them being doofuses. That's interesting. Now that I've zoomed out on the reference image. And I'm thinking about her front feet. I think her front feet would actually not be visible as a chibi. Because this is the back part of her body. Here's the mid part of her body. And the front of her body would be here. And her feet would be coming down right here. So I think we're not going to see her front feet. And as I'm looking at that, I'm feeling like this cheek needs to be a little fuller compared to the other cheek. So fill that out. Ah, that's better. I'll just smooth this cheek out a little bit more too. We'll round her face out a little bit for the sake of the chibi. Yeah, let's do her whiskers with ink. Either with gray ink or with black ink. Either way, I feel like whiskers are such an important part of what we see when we look at a cat. I'll do them a little stylized though, so that they're not quite touching the main drawing of her. So that maybe it makes sense that it's drawn with ink even though her whiskers are white. That's probably enough on that side. We'll add some more on this side. Without drawing every single whisker exactly the same, I tried to imitate the way they were spaced and curved to hopefully be faithful to the reference, but also be more practical. Because again, her whiskers are white, so if we draw a whole bunch of them with ink, they're just going to be too big of a presence compared to reality, how she is in this photo. The only thing is I feel like maybe one more could go over here. There. Okay. So next is her eyes. So she already has chibi proportions for her eyes. So the white of her eyes is just showing on the inside corner and maybe a tad bit on the edge. But that might also be her skin on the edge. It's hard to tell. Either way, we'll draw it like that. And like this. And then her lovely cat pupils must be very bright because she's got the... What is this shape? There's a name for this shape. The 2-point circle shape. I'll look it up. I love figuring this kind of thing out. What's a 2-point round shape called? Ellipse? Shape with 2 points that is rounded. Closed curve that resembles a stretched out circle. Like a cat's pupil. Vertical slit. No, there's a name. There's a name for it. Subcircular pupil. Subcircular shape. Should be easier to find this information. Subcircular shape. These are just... Okay, this needs to be one word. Oh, here it is. What is this? What is this? This one. Lenticular. Lenticular. Let me see. Does that mean it's called a lenticle? Oh, that doesn't seem like that's what it is. Why is it called lenticular? Lenticular. Maybe it's a lenticula. Shaped like a lens or a lentil. That's cute. That's why it's called that. Lenticular printing. Okay, I need to put lenticular shape. We're learning things. Something that resembles a double convex lens. Yes! Meaning it's curved on both sides like a lentil. It really is like a lentil. I love lentils. They're so delicious. Oh man. We had lentil curry all week. It was so good with potatoes and broccoli, carrots, cauliflower and coconut and milk. Well, having the shape of a double convex lens. Of or relating to a lens, especially of the eye. Well, I guess this is the word we want. Lenticular. So now we have learned something new today. That it's lenticular because it's like looking at a lentil from the side. That is so awesome. I love it. Alright, I'm going to make these pupils bigger though, even though they are this kind of pupil, which is the small version. Because it's cuter to have the big ones. So this is for the sake of cuteness, not for the sake of naturalism. I think I've done them slightly different from one to the other eye, so I've got to figure out which one I want to keep. Maybe I should just redo them both. The eyes are so important in a chibi. So while other things it's easy to just go with the flow, we'll say. This is something where it really matters to me to get it right. To get it, it's not about perfect, it's about making it at a point where at first glance no one would notice, oh, that one's way bigger than the other, or something like that. Close enough, we want them close enough that they don't, that it's not obvious that there's any difference. It's okay if there's a difference, but we don't want it to stand out like a sore thumb. What I'm seeing happen is this one is tilting. I don't want that. Why is it tilting? That's better. But the distance between the edge of the pupil and the edge of the iris is different. Let's see. Get my smaller eraser. I don't know how much of the lovely sounds from outside are coming through, but there's some, I don't know what kind of bird it is, but there's a bird that lives here in the wild, it's outside, that always imitates other bird noises and other noises too. Earlier, I heard it making noises of the frogs that are nearby, that later in the spring, in the evenings, you just hear this chorus of frogs filling the entire neighborhood. And it was making the frog sounds, and just now it was making a kind of whoop kind of sound. I don't know if that gets caught on the microphone here. So I've got my window full open. It's so nice outside. Sarah's being stalked with the, she's got the loot. They can tell. They know. They know it's for them. You've got their treasures. So I think what it is this eye is bigger than the other one. I mean, I'm not sure. So at the midpoint, this is about 2 centimeters wide. Huh, it's not. It's about the same. So what is the deal? Why is it not seeming right? I guess this one's a tad bit smaller. like a millimeter at most. But somehow this one's pupil seems way bigger. And this space is bigger than this space. Maybe I'll just move this eye a tad bit. Just a bit. Oh, Seacrest by Celia, welcome! Thank you for the raid! Whee! So fun! Welcome, everyone! Oh, Sarah says they could smell it before I even opened the big box. Dog sense of smell is so strong. Welcome, Raiders! I'm so glad you could join me today. Celia, what were you streaming today? And everyone, to introduce you to what I'm working on, I am creating a chibi caricature of Sarah Quilt's kitty, Harmony. So that's what I'm working on today, using physical media. Oh, hi! So great to see you! So glad you could join us. Isn't she? Harmony is so cute. She's a lovely kitty girl. Well, to be perfectly accurate, she's passed away, so she was cute, but she is cute. She lives on in our hearts, everyone who sees her. She continues to live on. Little cutie sweetie. So, I'm finalizing these eyes. I think I might finally be satisfied with them. There's just been little things. I want them to be even. It's looking a lot better. It's looking a lot better. So, let us move forward. Time to work on the ears. Precious darling dingus runs on long. So interesting the way you describe your precious baby. All right, the insides of her ears are either pink or almost black, and the fur, sort of guard hairs that cats have to protect the inside of their ears, is all white. So I think the only thing I'll do with ink is this edge of black fur curving around toward the front, and then these guard hairs I'll use ink toward the end. I'll use white ink toward the end. Aw, poor kitty. She miss her mommy. Her human mommy. She's so cute. I'm glad I got to meet her that one time, since we live so far apart. Okay, so we can get the rest of the edges of the black fur coming around here too. And then over here, it's almost entirely black, so I won't bother with drawing an edge. But inside this ear is pink, so there's a big contrast. So that means all that's left, well, really there's nothing left, because her fur color, she's a calico, so her fur color I'll add in with marker and colored pencil later. So I guess I'll just finalize the shape of her body here. That bird outside is making like a little screaming sound. So funny. It sounds kind of like what little kids sound like when they're playing on the playground and you're kind of far away, and it's that sort of scream of that playing scream that kids do. That's what it sounds like, and I wonder if that's what it's imitating, because it's imitating lots of other ones. You can sometimes hear it do some sort of bird of prey, and like I was describing earlier, I was hearing it make frog sounds. Aw, I just saw Cecilia's comment. That's so sweet. Continuing her adventures in pet heaven while she waits for you. She's probably playing with these two toys that are in the reference image. It's so cute, so I won't be depicting them, but in the reference image she's got two little, there's like a little mouse and some little thing with a tail sitting in front of her. Almost like she's saying, well, which one do you want to play with? She's looking right in the camera. Alright, it's time to ink. Yay! Ah. Putting my stuff away. Done with this stuff for now. She's telling you, I want to play. I'm ready to play. That's so cute. Reminds me of my Kiki girl. She wants to come into this room so much, but she's not allowed because she gets her hairs all over my artwork. And recently I got lilies for my birthday in a flower bouquet, and then she was like getting into them, and lilies are extremely toxic for cats, so we actually brought her to the vet and everything to make sure that she's okay, and she was fine. But now those lilies are in here, and she's like, yes, there's even more reason for me to come in. And like, no. So, but she comes to my door and meows, and it's just like, what do I do? She wants to come in, and I want to hang out with Kiki, but I don't want her messing up my artwork, and I don't want her getting into those poisonous lilies. Sometimes I just have to establish a boundary with my cat and say, no, you can cuddle with me after I'm done with work. Oh, poor baby. She just wanted to play. She was a playful girl. That's all. She just wanted to play with you. I want to do 8. No, I think I've been doing the graphic 1, actually. My biggest pen in this, I have a bigger one. I guess I didn't introduce what I'm going to start using. I am moving on to my favorite collection of Pigma pens from Sakura. I have microns and a single graphic in here. I have one slightly bigger one in this kit in case I need it. But this graphic 1, I believe, is what I've been using to do my big outline that I like to do around my chibis. Makes them kind of look like a sticker. I feel it gives them visual strength even though they don't have any background or anything to support them. They're just sort of floating in space. So that's what I'll start with. And I'm adding fuzzy texture, even though I didn't draw it with the pencil. So that'd be a waste of effort. I'm just going to erase the pencil when I'm done. So now is when I'm going to be adding the fuzzy texture. The ears will be smooth, except at the tippy top. Move the actual drawing around so that the clip is not impeding me. though there's some fur texture on the body, we're just going to make this a smooth line because it's so far away. Let me check. Is her tail it's coming forward. Okay, outline done. Yay! Oh, and it's basically break time. It's actually a couple minutes late. So let's take a break. Celia, if you haven't already, if you need to check out and go relax after your stream, that'll be totally fine. I completely understand, and I hope that you will take whatever time you need to recover. Everyone else, if you're sticking with me, let's take a 5-minute break. I'm going to put my be right back sign on and be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. It is time to resume working on Chibi Harmony. I left off after doing the outline, and so we're going to move to some smaller pens. I think maybe I'll use the 10 to do the outline of her eyes. This one didn't curve as much as I would like. There. There. Then her pupils, of course. Still think it's great that this is called lenticular because it's like a lentil. Or at least that's what everyone keeps saying. Oh, it looks like my main camera froze. Hold on. Let me fix that. I hasn't done that in a long time. I don't know why it does that sometimes. See if it wants to wake up. No. I'm gonna deactivate it. Activate. It's not coming back. Let's see. Come on, camera, what's the matter? I'm changing it to a different camera. I'm back. All right. It's extremely yellow. Okay, it's coming around. It's coming around to a better white balance. Looks like I got it back. Hooray! The heck, camera? Glad I noticed that fairly quickly. Okay, so at least you could see in the tertiary camera that I was doing stuff. Oh, no, we won't use such a big one. Go down to an 8, maybe. Go down to the 8 for the nosy and such. Yes. Oh, but I wanted to be able to turn it up this way. I forgot the reason why I turned it over. Adding fuzzy texture here too. And we can go even smaller for the rest, which is just her ears. And then I'm gonna get my gray pen set out for her whiskers. Did I put that gray pen set? So it's not in here. Maybe I just put it away with my other pens. Was it in there and I just didn't notice? Let me see. Oh wait, I know where it is. It's in this pencil case. Along with my range of gray markers, which was distracting me because I remember the markers were in here because it's this nice long pencil case. Forgot that the pens are also in there. So this is Copic multi-liner. So they don't have, there was something about this they didn't have. Either they didn't have the cool gray, or they didn't have these sizes or something in the Sakura Pigma line. So that's why I went for the Copic. For me, they're the next best. Of course, quality-wise, they're probably about the same, but I just have more experience with the microns. They were more accessible when I first started doing this kind of work. So let's see, what size do I want for the whiskers? I don't want it to be too big, but I don't want it to be so small that it sort of disappears either. What is the 0.05 like? Is that like way too small? Yeah, that's kind of small. That's kind of small. Oh, 0.1. It's still pretty small. I'll do the 0.3. Yeah, that's more like it. This size is more what I'm thinking. Looks almost exactly the same as the graphite. In fact, I think I just drew the same line twice because it looks the same. You can barely tell the difference. And she's got some whiskers coming out above her eyes, as all cats do. So add those in there too. Okay, time to erase. And then refine. Erase and refine. Starting with my kneaded eraser. Which I like because it's a little gentler on the paper than plastic erasers. Or rubber or any other kind. And I can erase the whole sheet to capture the graphite that got smudged around by my hand as I was sketching. This inevitably happens. Do this top part real quick. Okay. Think that's good for this eraser. Oh, the stream froze for you. Wow. Yeah, my camera stopped working, but I think that wouldn't have anything to do with the stream freezing. My main camera here was stuck, but the other cameras were still going. Well, you haven't missed too much. Hasn't been that long. Harmony's still here. Chibi Harmony. So we're done with these. That way. And now, time to get out a smaller eraser. And try to pick up as much of whatever's left as I can. Could have been from an ad while scrolling. Oh, and the Twitch was in the corner. Oh, so you didn't notice. All right, there's so much eraser stuff now I can't tell whether I've gotten all the graphite or whether it's hidden under that. Let's got all that off. Well, most of it. That little piece I didn't. There. That's good for erasing. Time to put the eraser away and swipe the rest of this stuff off. Make sure there's always some little teeny tiny pieces still, so I like to use my fingers to feel if they're on there. They're really hard to see. But they can, especially with the markers, they can get in the marker tip and kind of gum it up. But it feels nice and smooth and clean now. So next step is more ink, refining the lines, and I'm going to start with filling in the pupils. But at this rate, we should definitely have the ink, the black ink work done on this stream. So that's great. Someone's hammering outside, so if that's annoying, please let me know so I can close my window. That bird is making hawk sounds. Pew! It's one of those birds that learns other sounds in order to, like, instead of coming up with their own thing, their skill is copying other things. Like an impersonator. An impersonator bird. Pew. I love the sound that, I don't know if it's hawks, eagles, or what exactly it is that makes that sound. It's some bird of prey. But I love that sound. And I always loved it since the first time I heard it. But I also, ever since I saw Kung Fu Hustle, I now think of that scene from Kung Fu Hustle at the end. So I guess spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Kung Fu Hustle. I'll put my thumb up again when I'm done talking about it. It's not that big of a deal, but toward the end of the movie, the main character, I believe it's the main character, is soaring up in the air because they're doing these crazy kung fu movies, like moves that are, it's like anime style stuff. And he steps on an eagle, and the eagle goes, pew! So it's so funny. That scene is so funny because it's kind of in slow motion a little bit, and the eagle just goes pew as it's stepped on by this guy, you know, lightly stepped on, like he's using it as a platform as he moves on to this next move or whatever. So thumbs up. Spoiler over. But that's what I always think of now whenever I hear sort of hawk, eagle, whatever cry. Which I hear quite a bit because of that bird. That species of bird. Oh, it's doing the frog sounds now. This must be a different individual than I usually have heard in the past, because I've noticed all that sort of screaming like kids at a play park. I've heard the other calls of other birds and that eagle hawk sound, bird of prey sound. I've never heard it make the frog's croaking sound before this year. Before today, even. Today is the first day I've heard it do that one. Because at first I really thought it was the frogs. I was like, wow, why are the frogs out in full force this early in the day, this early in the season? Then I realized, you know what? It's probably that, whatever that bird is. That impersonator bird. So since on this eye I didn't make it as curved as I wanted, so I created a thicker line in order to make it curve, I just made all the lines all around on both eyes thicker so that it's even all the way around and symmetrical between the two eyes. Well, at least as symmetrical as you can get. As symmetrical as I can get. Some of what I'm doing is bringing back the ink after erasing, because erasing takes the ink too. It doesn't take nearly as much as it takes of the graphite, because it takes almost everything of the graphite, which is what you want, but it also takes some of the ink, so I'm bringing that back. Make the lines darker. But there's other areas where we don't actually need it to be darker, and in fact it could benefit from the lighter erased version because her fur is white. So having it be a lighter color is actually beneficial to the overall coloring. And there's just a couple areas I'm seeing where I want to bring the line into a more tapered shape. Right here. A little bit right here. I wonder if they're working on that building right behind my fence. It's so loud. It sounds like someone hammering with an individual, like a handheld hammer. Whatever the building is, it's just this teeny tiny cinder block building with a roof and a small chimney. So I don't know exactly what it is, a storage room or a meeting house or something. It's very, very small. It's like only the size of a single room, or at least from what I can see. But I've also noticed that the roof is kind of deteriorating. So maybe they're fixing that, but I don't see anybody up there. Sorry, I keep coming way further down than the main camera, and I'm so into the drawing that I'm not paying attention to what's being displayed on the stream. But I think this means the black ink work is done. What time is it? We've still got half an hour, so we can start with some markers. This is going to be a lot faster than many of my other chibis. So let me clean up my space. I don't need my sketch kit anymore. I don't need these gray items anymore, so I'll put them away. Oh, excuse me. All the pollen's probably coming in here. Growing up, I didn't have environmental allergies, but as I've gotten older, I have developed them. So now when spring comes, I need all the allergy medicines. And even that's not necessarily enough. Alright, so I got my Copic swatch book. I'm going to start with some markers. Put my clip down here on the back. And, oh, now I'm yawning. It's because it's Friday. I worked hard this week. I'm tired. Let's see. With marker, I always start with light and work to dark. So definitely the lightest thing is her fur and the white around her eyes. So we need some sort of gray color. So we'll just let the paper serve as the main color and the lightest color there. So we just need to choose what kind of gray. I have 4 kinds of gray. They go from warm to cool. For living beings, I prefer to choose a warmer shade just because we associate, as human beings, we associate warmth with life, so visually I think that applies as well. So I think I'll go with this toner gray. I don't think the warm gray is a little too warm, but we'll go one step up and do toner gray. She's had many colors. Yep, we're going to have a lot of colors on this girl before we're done. We've got white, pink, orange, green and yellow, black, a light tan, like a sandy color, and then warm light brown. Yep, there's plenty of colors. Let's see, what do I want for the first layer of color, though? T1 seemed like maybe a little too light, so should I be bold and go for T2? But then I don't want to push it too hard, because you can't take it back once you choose. So yeah, let's go the safe route. We'll start with T1. See what that looks like. If it's not dark enough, we can always darken it up. My Aoife girl, my big dog, she has this huge bed to lay on next to me on the floor under my desk over here. She has just moved her head so I can't scoot in. She's not on the bed. She's flopped off onto the floor and her head is on the floor and I can't scoot in because I'm going to roll over her face. Okay, hold on a second while I help her move. I can't risk running her over. Aoife, you gotta get on your bed properly. Let me push you. Let me push you. There. There you go. There you go, sweetie. Yeah, be on your bed, please. Oh, now I've got all of her hairs. Her hairs are all over my sleeves. I don't know if that comes through, but I'll roll those off. I don't want them all over the drawing. It was like while I was up getting that one marker, she flopped over onto the floor, even though it's just a nice, big, cushy bed to lay on. But she is my lap dog. She's my gentle giant lap dog. And so maybe she was just trying to scooch it even closer to me, because obviously she can't get in my lap while I'm working at my desk. Like, you have so much space. You're going to put your head on the floor? On the hard, cold floor? Okay. I think I got the majority, if not all, of those hairs off. Aw, she's the big yawn. So cute. Whenever I'm run over her face. No! I'm not going to do it. Oh. Whenever I'm done with streaming and done with work each day, I go and play some video games. I've been playing new Pokemon Snap recently. And every time she wants to get right in my lap. Not like at the foot of the chair when I put the little footrest up. No, she has to climb on top of me. 65... She's like 65 or 70 pounds. And no, she has to be laying in my lap. Anyway, let's get back to Harmony for a bit. So first, I'm seeing some shadows on her nosy. So we'll get those in there. And then coming up from the nostrils a little bit. And then on the sides. And this is how we can indicate the rows where the whiskers stick out. And then down here at the bottom. So the same thing over here. She actually has a tan patch here too. And a lot, but not all, of her chin is in shadow. And this side of her face, the part that's white, is completely in shadow. So do this like that. This side, there's a fair amount in shadow too, but not the whole thing. This goes almost all the way up. Actually, we'll bring this a little bit higher. Alright, good. Yeah, maybe a bit more, just like that. have spread some ink, and I don't know when I did that. I'll see if I can get it with an eraser. I didn't notice doing that, but I notice it now. If I can't get it and it doesn't disappear under the marker, then I'll just clean it up in Photoshop at the very end. Some of it is coming off though. I read this book called The Bird Way, and it had all this scientific research about birds, and the different kind of birds that it talked about that are these sort of impersonator birds. Like, I don't know what the actual official human name for this bird that I'm hearing right now is, but I'll just call them impersonator birds because there's birds like this all over the world. And learning about them and all their incredible skills and the things that they do and just how they live their lives is just so fascinating. I love that book. Oh, is this a bit too? Hopefully most of this will disappear under the marker because this whole area is going to be black anyway. So maybe this, but it'll be cut off because I cut the Chibi out with just a 10 pixel white border. I think most of it will be hidden. Alright, next, her body. And a big portion of it is actually covered by her gigantic Chibi head. And actually the rest of it is fairly well lit, so I don't think I actually need to put any marker there. So we're done with that one. I'm with that for now, hopefully. Alright, so I will just work on flat color for today because we've only got 19 minutes left. Of course, if I get the flat color down, then I'll start doing shading, but let's do all the flat color first and shade evenly. I don't always do that, but I feel like it works out better when I remember to do that. To shade evenly rather than to completely shade a whole color patch and then try to match the shading section by section. Feels harder than just doing a whole pass and doing the second pass, doing the third pass. So the next darkest color, oh wait, you know what? The white part of her eyes. Didn't do that. And it is significantly darker than her fur. So I'm just going to cover it entirely with this marker. Next darkest, yeah, it's got to be the pink of her nose and her mouth. Aw, you're missing your baby. She was with you for so long. You were so lucky. So lucky to have her for so long. Let's see, it needs to be a really light pink. It looks like this is my lightest pink, so I'll start with this one. RV10, Red Violet 10. Yeah. It's hard. There's so many things like that happen when we lose someone. I sometimes think about that myself. My mom and my grandma didn't get to see me graduate. Didn't get to see me get married. So, I know what you mean. Yeah. She was a good kitty. She would have been a good fur aunt. Or fur sister? Probably fur sister. Alright, pink down. It isn't quite light enough, but it's the lightest I've got in marker, so that's going to have to do. But next is this sort of orangey. It's right next to the pink. So not the orange patch on her nose, but on her ear. Oh, this one. Oh, no, maybe that's a little bit too much. Maybe this one. This one right here. You just see if it'll work putting it on top. R11. R11. Another bullying message. Whenever you talk about your pets, the Automod thinks you're bullying them. I'll allow it. You're not bullying anyone. He might not be a snitch. He's trying to help. He's trying to let you know something's going on. Alright, I think that'll have to do. Maybe a little bit more right there. And I'll actually use this as the base color for the orange patch on the nose too. Because some is looking a little bit darker than other areas on this patch. So we'll start with a light color. Oh, and we'll put it here too for this part underneath the nostril opening. It's a good base color. Next, either the tan color, the light sandy tan on the fur, or her eyes are like greenish yellow. But I guess overall the eyes are darker. So let's do this really light color on the fur, which is mostly just right here on her face. So let's see what color would be good for that. I'm gonna go to the brown, well, the yellows. Nah, let's go to the earth tones. There we go. So let's see, this is more red, this is the more neutral group in this. Well, then again, maybe the yellows would actually be better, because none of these are really what it seems like to me. Alright, we'll go back to the yellows. Here's yellow-red. This one's kind of close, but it's still too strong. What if I just use a warm gray? Is that... No, it's too colorless. Blast it! What shall I do? Well, I guess an earth tone is still the best choice. So the other groups are too vibrant. Guess I'll start with the lightest one in the yellower earth tones, which is E51. So she's got this, we'll start here. She's got the little tiny patch right here by her nose. And then she's got a little bit coming out on her cheek right here. And a little tiny bit, like a stripe almost, and a tiny bit here too. And I'll be covering this up with a lot of black, but it mostly comes up here. And then there's this big patch, this. There's a dog barking out there. Oh, now Chappie's hearing it. There's another dog barking. Not just Chappie. It's okay, Chappie. It's okay. It's okay, girl. Alright. Whatever the barking was about, it's calmed down. I don't know if y'all are hearing that stuff. Or if it's just us in this room. Yeah, that's definitely the best choice. Of the markers that I had available to me, that's the best choice. Okay. Next, I suppose, is the eyes. As we move from light to dark, and these flat base colors. It's definitely a yellow-green color. Maybe this one. Thinking this is a good base color. And then we can build on top of it, because there's little sort of, they're not flecks, but there's a lot of texture in her iris. And the way some of it catches the light looks more yellow. So I think this might be a good base, and then we can build on top with colored pencil later. So that's yellow green 63. YG 63. Oh, it's darker than I thought it would be. That's okay. We'll make it work with the colored pencils. Done! This collection of colors looks so pretty together. Hold on, I'm going to hold it up. Look how pretty and spring-like this collection is. Okay, next color. It's either the darker brown on her body or that orange patch on her nose, but I guess we got that base color for the orange patch. Let's just leave that for now. So let's go to the brown on her body. It's like a nice warm medium brown. Probably something from this group. There just aren't very many in the more yellowy colors, and they're all a little bit faded looking. Something a little bit more rich from here. Seems better, though I don't really... Oh, that's okay, Sarah. I don't really see one that's a super close match, but of the options I have, one of these is definitely, my eye keeps going to this color. So let's try this one. E35. Just 5 minutes left in the stream. So first, she has a little stripe going up off of her eye right here. And like that. And a little bit over here. And just a few little touches there. And then, scoot this down for her body. I think what I'll do is the whole area that's black and brown, I'll start with this brown and then I'll just put the black on top. Although the black, then it would be showing through, so I guess I won't. I'll draw each individual patch. So we've got a sort of triangle shaped patch here. And right across from that, little oval patch. And another oval patch going down that way. And then another one really close to her booty. And then going up onto her tail. And it kind of becomes intermingled here. I'm just going to do like dots. There's a little bit maybe, but it's mostly black at the end of the tail. I'm just judging the size. Is this too much here? Maybe we'll bring just some hatching. So it is mixed a little bit black and tan there. I think that's good. Yep, so all that's left is the black fur. I used toner gray. Should I just go ahead and use toner gray? That was confusing what I said. I used toner gray for shading the white fur. So I'm thinking about whether I should just go ahead and use toner gray for shading the black fur as well. And I'll just start way farther down the line. Even though we've got some really dark patches where the black fur is in shadow, where it's being hit by the light, it's actually fairly light. Yeah, let's just do that. Makes it simpler. Let's do T6 to be the lightest of colors of the black fur. T6. I don't know if we'll actually, I wonder if I should save this for next time, because actually there's less than 2 minutes left in the stream and I don't know if I can get this all done in that amount of time. So let's actually stop and I will save these markers for next week. Still looks super pretty and springy. Look at this. Look at this color collection. Harmony has a very springy color palette. So pretty. Yeah, and in fact, I'll literally leave these markers out on my desk because we won't be coming back to it next week. We'll be coming back to it in a couple weeks because the vegan market is next week, so I need that week to prepare, and then the week after that I'm taking a rest week to take care of stuff that I don't have time for during live streaming weeks. All right, so I'm tucking these markers in so they'll be safe. That way I'll remember which colors I used. So they're safely tucked in with my Sakura Pigma pens. So here's a last little close-up look of how far we got with Chibi Harmony using black ink, gray ink, and alcohol markers, Copic markers. Not bad for 2 hours. She's looking good. She's looking cute. Yay! So, oh, Sarah says she was a beautiful calico girl. She sure was. Look at her. So lovely. She's such a cutie. I mean, you know. You saw her in person for teens of years. Definitely teens. Teens of years. All right. This is the end for me this month. 16 years. I will be back in May. I'll be resuming streaming in May after this 2-week break. So I hope to see you then. Be sure to check my schedule on Twitch. I'll update that after I close up here to show my 2-week vacation, so you can tell when I'll be back. So yeah, I hope to see you then. But if not, let me wish you a most wonderful upcoming fortnight. That's it for me. Thank you for watching.